Those of you who are on Facebook who are joining me. For those of you on Instagram, I'll get it all started over again. Thank you for joining me. If you're on Facebook, thank you so much for joining me. If you're on Instagram, thank you so much. This is Positive TV. I'm your host, Daniel Smiley, and I'm going to be doing a live Q&A today. So thank you to everybody who has sent over their questions. If you have a question, you can leave it in the comment section. I will make sure that I answer that question for you as well. If you're uncomfortable with leaving a question in the comment section, you can also send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to answer via DM as well. But I'm going to be answering your questions today, and they're about relationships. They're about a lot of different things, family, the whole 9 yards. These questions are awesome. The topic today also is you don't have what you want in your life. None of us do. You only have what you accept in your life. And it's important that we understand that distinction, right? If you're not happy with what you have in your life, it's because that's what you've accepted. And if you want to change that, well, you got to accept something different. And that's just the bottom line. I get so many questions from people who are asking me, how can I change this? How can I change that in their lives? And that's the answer to it. That you have in your life right now, whatever you accept, not what you want. Right? You want a different body? You got to accept something different. You want a different level in your relationship? You got to accept something different. You want different treatment at work? You got to accept something different. You have in your life what you accept, not what you want. Period. I talk to people all the time who are who are in relationships where they may have some abuse going on, where they're in relationships where things are just not happening the way they want to happen. And you're going to see with these questions that I go over today, you're going to see some of those things. But I want everybody to understand that you do not have in your life what you want. Not everything. You have 100%, however, of whatever you accept. And so if you want something different in your life, you're going to have to accept something different. You know what I mean? And that's just the bottom line. So if you have a question and it's related to any kind of topic and you want to join me live on Instagram or Facebook, you can do that. I'll be more than happy to accept as many people as I can, but I want to get through these questions real quick. Again, I do this because I want you to be happy, right? We all have the ability to be happy in our lives, and a lot of people are not happy in their lives and they don't understand why. I want you to understand at your core, it's because of what you have chosen to accept. That's why you have what you have in your life. So if you want something different, you have to accept something different. I was in a relationship with someone for a long time, and I accepted a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have. And so in that relationship, I was not very happy. I didn't make changes, though, until, there came a time when the straw broke the camel's back and I made a decision to leave the relationship. That person wasn't happy, but I wasn't willing to continue to accept the treatment that I was getting. So I left that relationship. It's pretty simple. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, they struggle with that. Now, I know that because I get a lot of questions all the time, and I'm just going to jump right into these questions because I want you guys to get some value from this. And again, I want to add value to your life. So if you're not following me, please follow me, right? And if the content that I am providing for you, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, if it's not what you want, you need to go follow somebody else, right? I am obligated as a content creator to make sure that I am providing value in your life. And if I'm not doing that, then you need to do something else. Because there's a lot of great content out there. And my voice is not for everybody. But let's go into these questions. Okay, so I got a question from Julie R. And Julie says, hi, I'm not sure if you're going to write me back. I did write her back. I hope you will. I love your videos. I feel like I have to force my relationships with my family. It's very toxic, and I feel like they have come against me. I'm not sure what else to do. Any suggestions? So, Julie, Listen, you shouldn't have to force any relationship. Period. Every relationship is give and take. Every relationship is. Right? And a lot of times you're having to force a relationship because a person doesn't like you, or they don't accept you, or they're not cool with you, or you offended them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So the first thing you have to do, Julie, is you have to have a conversation with those people that you're forcing a relationship with and ask them, what's going on with you? You acting kind of strange. I'm not with that. Why are you treating me this way? Why are you talking to me this way? Why are you acting this way? Right? That's the first thing you have to do. You have to make sure you have the conversation. Because if you don't know why the relationship feels forced, or they're kind of keeping you at arm's length, if you don't know why, then how are you going to know what to do? Right? So you got to ask them, can you please tell me what's going on? Right? And then once they give you a response, then you need to put some things in place to make sure that those things don't happen anymore. And if people are just being, excuse my French, assholes about it, if they're being buttholes about it, then you got to make a different decision about whether you want to continue to do that. And yes, I know it's her family, and I don't care about that. Right? You got to make a decision. People, you deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. And anybody that doesn't do that, including family, you got to cut them out. If they refuse to do that, you got to cut them out of your life. I had that happen to me one time. Someone in my family disrespected my wife. I said, that's it. It's over. We're still family, but I'm done. I still love you, but I'm done. Not until you grow the courage to apologize and mean it. Right? You got to do what you have to do to make sure that you are accepting in your life what you want. If a person's behavior is outside of what it is you want, you have to reject it. If that's not what you want. If it's what you want, then keep doing it. That's the bottom line. So the bottom line is, that's the takeaway. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't distinguish between, listen, to me, a relationship is a relationship. Some relationships, obviously, you have relationships on different levels than other relationships. But if a family member does not love and respect you enough to treat you with dignity and respect, then you got to do what you got to do for your own life. I don't care who it is. Mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle. I do not care. You have to make sure, right, people are treating you with dignity and respect. If that's what you want. If it's not what you want, then let them keep treating you like crap. That's it. Jazzy Q. Hi, good afternoon. I need your help. I suffer a lot. I'm always worried about what others think about me, what they say. I'm always worried. I grew up with a family judging me for stuff I didn't do, and they judged me for some of the things that I did as well. Still now, they judge me. They do it now. I just want that to stop. I want to be normal, happy, and accept myself and love myself. Okay, so I will start the answer to this question from the end of the question. I did a live this morning on TikTok on how to love yourself. Okay, now at the top of this live, I said, you do not have in your life what you want. You have in your life what you accept. And if you don't love yourself enough to not allow people to treat you like this, then you're going to have some problems. Okay? So number one, you have to learn to love yourself. Now, first of all, what is love, right? Love is not a feeling. It causes us to feel, though. It's not an emotion. It causes us to be emotional. Love is an action. It's something that you can see. It's something that you do. That's what love is, right? It ain't all these feelings that you have. As a 55-year-old man, thank God I understand that. Love is a sacrifice that you make for someone else or yourself without any expectation of a return. That's what love is. We do that for our children, right? How do I know you love your child? You're willing to sacrifice your time, your treasure, your talent for your child, right? Sacrificing means you are doing something that you would normally not do, or you're doing something that's hard, or you're doing something, you're sacrificing. I can remember when my sons were growing up and they were playing football. I didn't care where I was, what I was doing. I did not care. I was going to stop and get to that football game because being there for them was more important than anything else I was doing, right? Being there at that game, them seeing me was more important than anything else I was doing. I didn't care. Track meets, basketball games, I was going to be there because I wanted them to know that nothing was more important than them, that I love them. That's what I did, right? We sacrificed. Like, well, why don't we do that for ourselves? Why don't we love ourselves that much that we're willing to do whatever we have to for ourselves? Most people don't. You take all kind of shit from people, right? You take all kind of stuff from people. And that shows me, them, how much you love you. Right? If you keep allowing a person to walk over you, step over you, to do those things, then you are communicating to them. You are saying to them by your action, if you allow them to continue to do that, you're telling them how much you love yourself and how much you love them. You care more about them than you do about you. That's the way it is. So the first thing Jazzy Q has to do is you got to learn how to love yourself. The moment you decide to love yourself, you're going to stop accepting some stuff from other people. You will stop it. People will not be able to talk to you and treat you any kind of way. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to let it happen. The moment the moment you decide to really, really, really love yourself, right? Sometimes, will you have to sacrifice a relationship to love yourself? Yep. Yep. You do. Sometimes, will you have to sacrifice friendship to love yourself? Yes. Yep. Yes. You will have to. You will have to. You have to love yourself more than anybody else. Period. I don't care who they are. You must learn to love you more than anybody else. All right? Now, he says he doesn't accept himself. Okay, again, once you start learning to love yourself, you will accept who you are just the way you are. Things about there's some things about you just can't change. I can't change my skin color or eye color or whatever. I just can't. I can't change how tall I am or what. I just can't. I can't do it. The things I'm passionate about, it's tough to change those things. So you got to learn how to be happy. And normal is subjective, right? Normal to you is not normal to me. You'll figure out what that normal is as you go along. But a lot of people have grown up with the judgment of others in their lives, right? People have talked down to them, judged them, and parents do that. Family members do that. They see you doing something and they think you're going to make a mistake, or you're not doing something the way that they think you should be doing it. They will judge you for it. They will. When I say judge you, I probably should be using a different word. Because judgment means that they are placing themselves above you and they're looking down on you like you're less than. So if they were just trying to guide you and direct you and you felt like it was judgment, then you got to deal with that within yourself as well. But the bottom line is, if you start learning to love yourself, really, really love yourself, then a lot of this will go away. You have to set clear standards and boundaries for your family and tell them, I don't like the way you did that. I don't like the way you said that. I don't like the way I felt when you did that. And have the real conversation with them so they can stop it. And the moment it happens, I don't care who it is, you can say, you got to say, listen, I didn't like it. I felt like you judged me in that particular area. Have the conversation. But the bottom line is, if you start learning to love yourself more than anybody else, you're going to be good. All right. So Sonia says, I'm 39. When I was 22, I got married. Had my child at 23. And at 24, I had cancer. And in that time, my brother of 22 years, he was 22 years old, he died in a crash. And my grandmom died suddenly back home. And my husband secretly married while my husband and I secretly married while he was telling me off. He came back. I took him to my parents under pressure. I now have 2 more kids, 9 and 10. But I still can't forgive him. And he's making things worse. He's making things worse by abusing me physically and mentally. All right, let's talk about this. So you have a husband who is in your life who is abusive. Remember, you do not have in your life what you want. I know you don't want to be abused. Nobody does, right? You have in your life what you accept. So if you don't want your husband to abuse you, right, you need to have the conversation with him. Dude, right? And if he won't comply, then you might have to bring in some additional help, some reinforcements. There's all kinds of stuff you can do legally, whatever, right? But no one should abuse you mentally and physically. Nobody should. No one. I talk about seeing mental and physical abuse in my life when I was growing up, my father and my mom. Nobody should have to go through that. No one. So you have to stand up for yourself and say to him, look, enough is enough. I'm done with this. All this hitting, mental abuse, that's over. You got to stand up for yourself. And not only do you have to do it for you, but you have to do it for your children. Because you can't be your strongest if you're allowing somebody else to treat you that way. You can't be your strongest. So you need to make sure that you are standing up for you and getting whatever help you need. And it sounds like you might need to consider leaving that relationship if things don't change. You got to have that conversation with them. No woman, no man deserves to be abused by anybody. The only reason why people try to abuse you is because they have a need to feel empowered, that they have power over you. They have a need to feel like they have power over you for whatever reason, right? And that's not right. Just because they're feeling some kind of way, don't treat me like that. Don't try to abuse me, right? And so that abuse is designed to keep you under their control you, have power over you. And you got to take that power back by saying, no, you ain't gonna do that to me no more. That's it. That's it. So you have to stand up for yourself. You have to. You have to stand up for yourself. You must. Or guess what? It's going to continue to happen. And it sounds like, that's not what you want. Stand up for yourself, have the conversation, and let the person know, hey, man, this all the stuff you're doing, it's over. Today, it's over. And then you got to make a decision about what you're going to do to remove yourself from that situation. I got another question. Braveheart 26 says, I'm with the father of my 2 kids, have been for 10 years. We haven't grown, I guess, as a couple. The relationship is boring because he's not the romantic type. Okay. I met a lesbian. She makes me a priority in everything. She's so romantic and I fell in love. My problem is I'm afraid one day my kids will get angry if I choose this lesbian, this other person over their father. Right? But I'm not sure what I'm sure I'm not going to be happy if I choose their father. What should I do? Well, you just answered the damn question, right? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to choose happiness over everything else. Right? I don't care who you decide. First of all, you shouldn't be, if you're unfaithful on your husband, that's going to cause some problems. Okay? If you're attracted to somebody else, then, find the courage to go to your husband and say, hey, look, this is kind of what it is. And this is where I'm at. Right? But this is tough. I'll answer it this way. Your children will be happy if you're happy. I believe that. They will be happy if you. They may be angry about it for a little while, but they'll be happy if you're happy. If you're not happy, you gotta tell your husband how you're feeling. You have to. You must communicate with your husband and tell him what's going on with you, right? And then see if there's some sort of solution that you guys can come to, which may mean splitting up. I mean, that may be the case. But sneaking around on your husband with somebody else that you fall in love with and then worrying about whether or not if you chose this other person that your kids are not going to be happy with you, sounds like you've already made up your mind with respect to your husband. You've already made up your mind that you know what, it's over. Then have the courage to go to him and tell him that. Right? And not try to live a double life. Believe me, I understand that. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Burned it. But you're not doing yourself or your children or your husband any good by, faking it. If he's not making you happy, it's important for you to go to him and tell him, hey, this is what I have going on in my life, and I'm counting on you to help me get through it. Now, if he chooses that, hey, you know what, I'm done, I'm out, whatever, then, you made your bed, you got to lie, and you got to do what you got to do. The important thing here is, if you are not happy, your kids are not going to be happy. So either way, you got to make a choice, right? Choose to be happy. Your kids might be pissed off at you for a little while, and eventually, hopefully they'll get past it. But just make sure when you make this choice, it's what you want. And it's not some fling or something that you're, if you choose this other person, make sure that it's what you want. Because you don't want to continue this cycle for year after year after year. That's just my suggestion. Again, in life, we don't have what we want. We actually have what we accept. And I keep on saying that because I really want people to understand that. That's the bottom line. And until we decide to accept something different, nothing in our lives will change. Okay, Mr. Rishi R. Hi, I really struggle with something someone did to me in the past. I see this person at work. I want to move on, but I feel there's been no justice. I need to see the justice to move on, but I'm not sure how I will get it. You probably won't get justice. Okay? Or at least the kind of justice that you want. You might not get it. So you're telling me you're going to pause your life until whatever happens to this person happens the way you want it to happen to that person. What you got to understand, Mr. Rishi, is that person is now in control of your life. That person controls you. Anybody who controls your attitude controls you. And here you are waiting for that person to be punished, reprimanded. And you're like, I can't move on until I see that. Well, maybe the person has already been reprimanded. Maybe they were verbally counseled or something like that. You just don't know it. Maybe that person is feeling bad on the inside for doing it and just haven't said anything to you. Maybe they have already received some sort of punishment, but you don't know it. And what you are doing is you are living your life based on what you want to see happen to that person. You got to move on. You got to move on. You got to make a decision that you are going to move on, or you're going to stay stuck there. You will remain in that same spot for longer than you need to be. Right? As long as this thing is not happening to you anymore. And it may mean for you, leave the job, go get another job. But you can't let people control you like that. You can't let, in this case, someone punishing, disciplining someone else to stop you from living your life. Every day, I bet you get up, you go. I wonder if, every day you get up, I wonder if they going to get in trouble today. I wonder if they're going to, what do you want to see happen? You want to see them get fired? You want to see them get demoted? You want to see them get what? What do you want to see? What kind of punishment do you want to see happen? Your whole life is centered around that. It's probably challenging for you to enjoy any part of your life because that's on your mind. Every day you get up and you go to work, you think about that person. Every time you get ready to leave work, every time you run into that person, right? So that person has control over you mentally, emotionally, and you're allowing it. You are allowing it. If you want that to change in your life, you got to let it go. You just have to let it go. And the longer you hang on to it, the more it will be a thorn in your side. What's up, officially Blue Shine? Let me add you. So the more you hang on to it, the worse it'll be. Officially Blue Sunshine. You requested to join, so I'm sure you have a question. So yeah, we have in our lives what we want. We don't have in our lives what we want. We have in our lives what we accept. Officially, how are you doing? Did you have a question for me? Were you going to ask me a question live, or you want to ask me a question in the comment section? So again, Mr. Rishi, please just let it go. You cannot allow something in your past that has happened that you have now have no control over. You can't allow that to be the thing. No problem, officially Blue. You can't allow that to be the thing that stops where you are in your present, because it's going to mess up your future. And so many people do that. They allow their past, right, to mess up their present because they can't let it go, and it destroys their future, and they don't understand why. Learning to let go of stuff that you have no control over, that's powerful. You have to do that because you can't control it anyway, right? People get stressed out over it. Attitudes get bad. Tell you a little story. I used to tell it many, many years ago in motivational speaking. Two guys driving down a major highway. One guy's in his normal passenger vehicle. Somebody comes and gets in front of him and cuts him off. It pisses the guy who's driving off. So this guy chases after him all the way down the street until they get to a point where that car who cut him off, and that sports car, has to turn off the highway. And the person who was in that passenger vehicle, that car, is so angry for the rest of the day because that person cut them off, loses their attitude, just completely loses their attitude. People treat life that way. Something has happened to you on the highway. Something has happened to you in your past. Somebody has violated you mentally, emotionally, whatever, right? Somebody has pissed you off, done something to you that they shouldn't have done. And you have no control over changing it. And so you hang on to it. and it's a part of your present. People do that in relationships. We have all been, if you've been in a relationship before, somebody has screwed you over. I was talking to a coaching client the other day who's trying to find love and don't understand why they can't, because they're still holding on to something that was done to somebody else, right? They're still holding on to something that happened to somebody else, and they're still trying to protect that particular person. Why? It's your life. And if you can't let go of things that you from your past, if you can't let go of things from your past that you can't control, you are not going to be happy. Period. You're not. So it's important. Boundaries and mental health is important. Yeah, listen, officially, and when I talk about boundaries, I don't just talk about, soft boundaries. I talk about deal breakers. In your life, when we think about how to set up barriers around our lives, we have to establish deal breakers, right? Or you can't expect to get what you want. Meaning, and one of the things I talk about in my book, Relationship Success, the 6 big mistakes most people make and how to avoid it. One of the things I talk about is red flags. Red flags that are deal breakers. You have to ask yourself this question. If this happened one time in the relationship, once, not twice, not 10 times, if it happened once, it's over. It's a deal breaker. You got to establish that. In my previous marriage of 28 years, 25 years in the marriage, one of the things that was a deal breaker to me is you can't say divorce. You can't. Now, here's why. Because the moment you think it and then you say it, it can become reality. If you don't want that to happen in your life, don't say that to me. Because now I have to deal with the fact of, well, is that ever going to happen? I don't know when it's going to happen. So when that happens, I'm done, right? That's me. That's a deal breaker for me. Some people have to set up deal breakers in their own lives. What are some deal breakers for you? Those are the boundaries that you have to set. Hard, concrete walls that are around you that you just won't let people cross that line. And most people don't have those kinds of boundaries in their lives, which is why you have in your life what you have. I remember when Ashley and I first got together, one of the things that I'm a communicator. Okay. So, and Ashley's she's a professional. She's a huge communicator as well. But I said during the beginning of the relationship, babe, I sent you a text message 8 hours ago. Okay. And she says, oh, I was working, I didn't see it. And I said, listen to me. When I send you a text message, I'm sending it to you because I'm telling you that I'm thinking about you. So please, when you see it come across, a simple, hey, thank you, I love you, that works for me because it makes me feel connected. Okay? That's important to me. So those are soft boundaries, but hard boundaries, like some deal breakers, where a person gets one shot, they get one, you have to communicate that. So I'm gonna do a show on establishing deal breakers, or maybe boundaries in the relationships. But you have to establish hardcore deal breakers. Now, once you establish them, you have to communicate it, because a person could break a rule in your life when they don't even know it's a rule in your life, right? If you haven't told them that this bugs the hell out of you, if you haven't communicated that to them, then how are they going to know? Right? Like I said before, one of the things I said in my marriage for 25, 20 years was, you can't say divorce. Now, what made it end? Because 10 o'clock at night, one night, on a Saturday, she came in and said, it's very apparent that this relationship is over. Now, that's not what she meant, but see, now it's over. See, now you can't say that. I didn't know what she was talking about. But you can't say that. You can't. That's a boundary for me. And there are some boundaries for other people. Like maybe this person cheated, or maybe this person lied about something simple, or maybe they put somebody else before you, or whatever it is, right? But if you don't have those deal breakers, hardcore boundaries in your life, then you are going to get what you have accepted. Period. End of story. So in your life right now, take inventory. What are some things you don't want? Have you communicated those things to the other person? And if they cross that boundary, are you holding them accountable? Period. And I encourage you to ask the other person the same thing. What are some things, lines I cannot cross? So you can at least understand what you need to do in the relationship, right? That's the bottom line. So I love answering your questions. I absolutely do. I love it. I love it. And thank you guys so much for sending your questions to me on an almost daily basis. And I'm gonna deal with that real quick. Officially, Blue Sunshine. Communicating boundaries to family is the hardest. It's only hard because you think it's hard. It's really not that difficult. Now, let me explain to you. Let me say this, and then I'm going to explain something to you about this whole. How do you communicate boundaries to family? That's the hardest. I don't think it's hard at all. I have had to check many family members. Many I've had to check, including sons, sisters, brothers. I've had to check them because I don't care if we were born from the same mom and dad. This is my life. It ain't yours. It's my life. And I will have in my life what I want, not what you're willing to give me. Listen to what I just said. I will have in my life what I want, not what you're willing to give me. You're not going to give me trash if I don't want trash. Period. So I'm going to answer that in just a second. And I'm going to give you some suggestions about how you can do that. Okay. So again, next week, my mom's going to be on. So we're going to have a conversation with my mom. Bottom line, I want you guys to be happy. And I want you to have in your life what you want. So you got to understand, you have in your life what you accept, not what you want. That's what you have in your life. I'm sorry, what you accept, not what you want. And so until what you accept is actually what you want, you won't have it. So I'm going to answer this last question from you, Officially Blue, and then I'm going to move on. Okay. So you said communicating with boundaries to family is the hardest. Do I have any suggestions? Those are easy, but what about mamas? All right, let's talk about this. So, and I'm going to tell you how I would deal with it. My mother will be on next Sunday at 1:15 Central Standard Time, and she will tell you that what I'm about to share with you is the honest to God's truth. I am a father as well. Okay, so your mother, if you are a grown woman and you are not in that house, your mother is no longer in control of your life. And setting boundaries for your mom is not disrespectful. It's your life, not hers, right? My sons are grown. I don't have no control over their life. I can make suggestions about things I want them to do. I can make suggestions about how I want them to live their lives, but that's their lives. I don't have no control over who they are in a relationship with, what they do, where they work, how they spend their money. They grown. They were in my house for 18 years. They've done their time and they are on. It's on, right? So yes, I want what's best for them, but they may not want what's best for them. That's on them. So I have to respect my son's decisions, right? About what they are going to do in their own lives. I have to respect that. And if I don't respect it, they have a right to kick me out, to stop communicating with me. I have to respect them. So a lot of times parents of their grown children don't have respect. Yes, you are their mother. Yes, that's your mama. But it's your life, not hers. It's your life. So you have to go to your mom and say, that bothers me. What you're doing bothers me. So, effective immediately. The rule is, I won't accept it. Now, watch this. If you don't stop, I will cut off communication with you. I will limit my communication with you. I will limit my time around you. Because you have to stop. Now, why should you do that? Because if you don't, you're going to be unhappy. Is that what you want? You want to be unhappy. Oh, you want to be unhappy, right? Of course you don't. So you have to say to your mom, ma'am, I love you. I respect you. I honor you. But this is my life. Chill. Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. You have to have a real, honest, and open conversation with your mom about how you feel when she does certain things. Because if you don't, she won't stop. Why won't she stop? Because mamas are always trying to be mamas. Daddies are always trying to be daddies. Until that daddy understands that that child's life, that grown child's life, is that grown child's life. I'm not going to try to control my sons. I love them. And if they decide they want to sleep under a bridge, even though that's not something I want for them, I would never want that for them. If they chose, how you doing? Yolanda, how are you? If they chose to sleep under a bridge, it's their lives. I don't control it anymore. When they were under my roof and on my payroll, I had some say so. But now that they are grown, I'm still their father. But I'm not responsible for their life. Do you understand? So go to your mom and have a conversation with her. If your mom, this is my suggestion, and this is what I would do with my mother. If your mom rejects it, then you got to make a choice about what you want to do in your own life. Are you going to limit communications? Are you going to separate yourself? People have this problem. And by the way, this is not just child to mom. Sometimes children, grown children, disrespect their parents. And their parent thinks because they are a parent, right, they're obligated to take that kid's bullshit. Nope, you're not. You're not. No son, no daughter of mine will be disrespectful. I don't have to take that. Just because I birthed you or had you, not birthed you, but just because I was responsible for raising you in this world. No. We have in our lives what we accept. That's it. That's all we have. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you want to catch this re-air, you can catch it on YouTube or on Instagram stories. But I want you to be happy in your life. That's what I want. And you have in your life what you accept, not what you want. So until you change what you're willing to accept, nothing else in your life will change. Take care.